A little talk here on the valuation of human life and the function of currency and trade. Um, when I had my when I fell apart there a few years back, one of the things that happened is all my bank accounts closed, and I no longer have credit cards or any currency to work on this digital platform. And it was a blessing, honestly. My cell phone got canceled, everything got canceled, and I learned where I stood in this world, which is basically I'm worth nothing to anybody without that stupid phone. Um, so because when I no longer had a phone for people to like control me with their daily schedules and their I need to message you, I need to talk to you on the phone. What happened is people just stopped showing up. Nobody checked on me. Nobody came around. The only time I saw anybody is when I went out in the public and engaged with them in the public somehow, and that had to be through like chance meetings and or if they happened to come by and see me, like my family would maybe stop by, but it was only a few times really. Because I wasn't on the phone, so I wasn't in their mind. Because everybody is attached to this device. This runs your entire day. It controls everything you think, everything you do, and everything you say. And now what we're doing is we're shifting over to a function of digital currency where we don't even trade in a physical function anymore. So, and currency, if you go back to the function of currency and you think about how it existed in the past, started out as like shells and beads and things that you trusted with strangers, right? You traded them with strangers, not with your own family. They don't have any function with your own family. They're just decorations because they're not worth anything because they can just pick them up right there too. It's the shells that are not from your area, right? You got a pocket full of shells. Rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. It started all the way back then in the trade of things and taking them from your place and handing it to others and having them take it someplace else. And so um, at this point, what's happening is if I can't pay cash, I'm not participating, and I made that a hard rule. I do not do digital currency. I don't do banks. I don't do credit cards. I don't do any of it. I do when I buy things online. I do use my mom's card because she's here and that's available to me, and that's so I'm available to purchase some things online like hemp seed, right? Or if I need like a pair of shoes. I might need to get a pair of shoes here because my feet are actually changing size after releasing the bindings in my foot. They're getting longer. It's insane. My shoes are too short now. It's mind blowing. But so currency, what we've shifted to is that it's a function of valuation of human life, right? It says right on your dollar bill, "In God we trust." And why does it say that? Because the currency is a function of division. It means that you don't trust these people because if the reality is, if we were all together in this, if somebody needed a house, you would help them put it together, like the Amish or something like that. It's not, you don't have to pay money for it. You just do what needs to be done because people need it, and equality is the function, and we're all family and community, and that's how family and community works. But when capitalism comes to play, well, somebody's got to make a profit. We got to make sure the banks get paid, that people get paid to sit in a chair and say, "You're not important enough to get any money from us here," right? So what they're doing now is they're trying to shift us all to a full digital currency, Bitcoin, all this stuff so we basically have feudal overlords that are of corporate function that, we're going back to feudalism, and it's toxic. Currency is toxic. And we can see it now with how all the prices are ballooning because the global trade has been shut down by a war that we created ourselves from our own generative greed of overconsumption. And so we're in just a complete collapse of the capital system because we don't value each other's lives, just like we don't value the lives of anything around us. We don't value the lives of the animals, the pigs, the chickens, the cows, the fish, the goats, the trees, the plants. We just rip out the plants by their roots and then grow other ones for seed and then cut them out and like cut all the flowers off so we can take them inside and smell them ourselves when they belong to the plant. Like we don't associate anything with God anymore. Everything belongs to man, and God is just something that is a distant, energy that we can't connect with, when the reality is God is all. God is all energy. God is all things. This right here, this little guitar is God, right? It's got a beautiful tuning set right now to demonstrate that. And if we don't appreciate each one of these things as a function of God in our lives, then they get thrown away and they get disassociated. And that's what all the guitars that I have and all the stuff that I buy is stuff that people disposed of. And that's why it loves living with me, is because I'm never getting rid of it, because it came to me for a reason, because it needed to be functioned with love and respect. And that's what we refuse to do with our own communities and families. We no longer love or respect our communities and families. We just want to make our 2% so we can go on vacation to that beach in Thailand and trash it just like everyone else did, right? And if you go to that beach in Thailand that was so beautiful 20 years ago, now it's covered in plastic water bottles and candy wrappers and a bunch of bullshit that everyone disposed of there when they're on their little vacation getting theirs, right? And I know I went to Hawaii and I got off the plane and we were in Kauai and the lady looked like numb. It was February and I was like, how's it going? She's like, it just never stops anymore. It never stops. I was like, really? And she's like, yeah, it used to be that we got a break, but now it just never stops. They just keep coming. They keep coming. And then we go out and there's like the chickens everywhere from the hurricane. And they're like, take a chicken home with you, right? It's just complete chaos everywhere you go, because everyone's decided that their generative space where they belong, their self-valuation is that I belong to the whole world and I can go anywhere I want. And the reality is you were born in a place for a reason, and that's where you belong. So what we all need to do is go home and respect our homes, respect ourselves, respect our loved ones, respect our community around us, and put, as everyone's been saying, they make everything abroad. Well, that's because we refuse to do it ourselves. We want more than we can generate because we're greedy and we're broken, because that's what we've done with our animals and our relationship with nature. We've just walked away, turned our backs. We cut down any tree we want. And the reality is those trees are exactly as conscious as us. They're exactly as conscious. They're just bound in a different form. So when you cut trim the limbs off a tree, you're cutting the limbs off yourself. You're separating yourself from God. And that's where we are at this point. When people used to live 1,000 years in these books that we worship, right? The Holy Bible. Well, how come they lived so long back then? Maybe they counted different. Maybe no one can figure out why. It's because they didn't kill everything, right? And the more stuff they killed, the more it falls apart, right? In Genesis 1, you go through the book. It starts, they living to 930, 950 years old. Noah got a second chance and failed, right? And it just went downhill from there. And so by the time you get to Moses, he lived to 175. By the time you get to Joseph, it's 110 years old. Now where are we at? We're at 78. 78. And we have the potential to live 1,000 years in this place. And my hair is standing straight up because I turned around and went back to the path that God told me right here in this book. God said, go back to the beginning of the book. Do what I told you. So I said, thank you, God. And I went back, and that's what I'm doing. And what's happening is it's releasing all my energy. Instead of declining in entropy, it's moving up in ascension. And I can conceptualize everything completely different than everyone else does here. It's a power. It's a gift to be one with nature and stand in unity with all life. We can find our community again. We can find the people around us. We can love our families. We can stop dividing each other with currency and nightmares and weapons and just all these functions of violent trade that we associate with, because we commit so much violence in this world that it's come back to pay us, right? It's the big payback. Revenge. This is the revenge of the planet, come back to destroy us. They talk about revenge of the nerds. This is revenge of the animals. This is revenge of the meek, those that we've been using. The cattle that don't have the ability to speak to us in our tongues. They don't have that ability. All these animals, they can't say, stop, no, don't kill me. My life is important too. No, they say, meh, and you say, you die, cow, I'm pulling a Big Mac out of your head, right? And that's why we have the leader we have, because he eats Big Macs, fillets of fish, and sausage McMuffins every day. So he gets the fish, the cows, the chickens, and the pigs all in one day, and that's why he's so associated with this violent function of trade. But the thing is, we all consume it. 40% of the population eats that McDonald's every day, the fast food life. and it's destroying us from the inside out. We hate ourselves, and we're sending that energy to each other. So if you want to if you want to live like as one here, you have to do what God said in the beginning of the book. You can't follow Noah to the slaughter. You can't follow Moses to the control of warlord. You can't, and the wives of marrying your sister. That's like it's crazy, dude. When you start looking into the Bible and what people are doing, you're like, well, no wonder they fell apart. They have like 3 wives, 5 wives, working for the, Joseph's working for the Egyptians. It's like, it's all this core. You watch the line go down and function from freedom to corporate fear, right? You're now working for the entities, and there's a grand ruler of the Egypt that controls everything, and that's where we are now. That's exactly where we are now. Is because we've disassociated ourselves with nature so far that we're in the end times of the fall. So do what God told you. Go back to the beginning of the book. Heal yourself. We can put down all this currency and all this bloated warfare and unnecessary violence that we commit ourselves, and is just handed right back to us in spades, right? Why don't you bury yourself at 78? You don't get to live 1,000 years, suckers, right? The earth is speaking to us. It says, if you want to live, well, comprehend that you've gone viral, and